That's a good drink. Oh no, wait, that's not. Welcome everyone to another episode of TV Dinners, where we are going to feed your entertainment soul. Okay, tonight we're going to do something a little different. No actual topic, but spoiler alert, probably some rants, a couple of really grateful things that I want to talk about, end of the year stuff, and some really cool stuff that's coming up for season finales. I'm really excited about some things. Also, I definitely want to talk about some things that are on the horizon for the end of November, beginning of December, maybe just a little tiny peek into January. We've got some really good projects that are on the horizon. But it is that time of year when most TV series start to either wind down or have wound down, and we're not going to see too many new projects until the beginning of the year. So, without further ado, let me introduce my panel tonight. And just so that you guys all know, just be ready for my one big
Thank
rant,
you.
which will definitely be an interesting one. Let me start with Josh. Josh, how are you tonight? And thank you, as always. You get my number one thank for producing the show and always being there and putting up with all of my nonsense. Thank you so much.
No, you're absolutely welcome. I just hope you keep that attitude in mind when I force all of you to work next Thursday.
Well, we'll talk about that over lots of boozy eggnog, and we'll make you
Whoopsha.
forget that. Also, Kinte, I am 100% grateful to you for just simply being Kinte. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Well, I love you so much, Jen, and I love Josh, and I love Tori, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm looking forward to tonight's show. And let's do it.
I gotta say, Kinte is the one who actually, I think personally, who made me feel like I could speak coherently to a group of people about all kinds of different topics. So I give you a lot of credit for being my empowering muse. Thank you. I can't say enough about that. That's really it's huge. It's absolutely huge for me.
Oh,
So thank you. Um and Tori, you get my biggest thanks for being my steadfast
Oh,
podcasting
okay.
partner. Thank
Yes.
you very much for always being available and
Yes,
doing
you're
stuff.
welcome.
I very much appreciate it. And Betty, if you listen to this or when you listen to this, you also get a heaping dish of thank you for being steadfast as well. Even though you've abandoned us to go on your across the country road trip,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll talk about how traders and people get treated later, but we'll deal with that later. We'll deal with it later. In
What was
any
his
event,
name? What was his name in the colonial days?
Benedict Arnold.
Yeah, it's been or I can't think of it now.
Yeah, that kind of fits pretty well too, actually, with the whole Hamilton thing. We'll just throw that all in there.
yeah.
So of course next week is Thanksgiving, and I can't imagine that anybody is actually going to be podcasting on Thanksgiving. But if you are, more power to you. I will have a house full of like 20 guests, so it'll be a big event here. So that'll be fun. What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Josh, what do you do?
Um, Go to Golden Corral.
Really? Do you actually eat out on Thanksgiving? I mean, is that like a thing?
Yeah, yeah. Who wants to cook?
Well, I do, but okay. To each his own. I'm super excited about that. Less dishes, that's for sure.
Yep.
What about you, Kinte? What are you doing?
Me and Tori is doing a podcast next Thursday called Let's Talk Turkey.
Yes.
Hey, oh, that sounds like fun.
No, no. He's renting a house in Anaheim, California,
Okay.
and so we're all taking rooms in it. It's a huge home, and we get there on the Wednesday, and I got a bunch of family coming in from out of town, and we're gonna have like a big Thanksgiving bash. And
Wow.
um I'm supposed to make something. I forgot. I gotta look. But one thing I'm doing is a game show for the family. So we're calling it Generation Wars. So it's gonna be the 40 and under versus the 40 and up. And I'm the
Nice.
I'm coming up with questions and stuff to ask. So we should be recording. I'm gonna try to record it. So yeah, it'll be fun. So it's gonna be music trivia, a bunch of different things. It should be fun.
That's what some of my family is actually leaving to go off on kind of their Christmas slash other holiday a bit early, so we won't see them for Christmas. So we're gonna sort of make a little bit of some of our traditions for Christmas happen at Thanksgiving, so they don't miss them.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm kind of excited about it. But we do something similar, and
oh,
we are going to definitely. We always play Cards Against Humanity. That's like the big thing.
hmm,
But this year we're going to do music movie trivia. So you get to
oh,
hear a couple of lines, a couple of stanzas, maybe not even stanzas. You get to hear a couple bars of the beginning intro of music, and then whoever can identify it the fastest gets the points. It's always fun. Um, and I always have to kind of be like the MC because I know too many of them, so it's never fair, which is sort of funny. But anyway, all right, Tori, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I don't
Something
know.
big and grand?
Well, we got a 20-pound turkey, and there's like 3 of us here. So, and I know that my roommate is going to go to her family's for Thanksgiving. So it's just going to be me and Mac. And I really don't know. Like, we're thinking about maybe making the turkey early. You know
Mm,
what I mean? Like a couple days early and then have like leftovers. And then I don't have to do anything on Thanksgiving.
that
mm.
is not a bad idea. Not a
No,
bad
we
idea.
gotta make it on Thanksgiving.
I
I
feel the same way, but he is persuading me to do it a couple of days early.
All right, if
my
he's cool with it, then cool.
Yeah.
my oldest is every year except for during the pandemic years. They bring a big piece of meat, whatever it is. This year it's going to be a ham to an emu, and that's like an in the ground cooker. And he is so excited about this. I'm excited about it for him, but he is so excited about it. So we've done turkeys in the emu before. They come out absolutely delicious. But this year, I have a secret. I don't know. I'm not sure whether I should call it a secret technique or what. I guess it's not really super secret, but I came across this Julia Childs video. Well, a video of somebody doing a Julia Child's trick, and it involves cheesecloth and butter, and I'm
Yes.
so excited to try it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I will be
Julia
cooking.
Childs has the best cookbook, or like the Good Housekeeping cookbook, the
Yeah.
very first one, like
Yes. Yes.
that calls for lard and crap.
I,
You know,
I
you're
have to
like,
I have to say, I mean, I've got a ton of cookbooks. I mean, obviously, I do movies and meals. I've got tons and tons of cookbooks. But the one cookbook that I go back to over and over again is The Joy of Cooking. It's
mhm.
just, it's the staple. It's the, do I need to do this in order to make this sauce work? Or can I do this? And that book always brings me back to the most basic center so that I can expand on whatever I want to. But, there's the in black and white, here's how you should do it, and it never fails me. Absolutely love it.
Did you know that Josh has a cookbook? It's called Chitty Meals.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And it's all about hot dogs, macaroni and cheese. And for our native Hawaiians, spam.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, you know what, we in Hawaii, I'm always joking, but it's really serious. If there's a hurricane or a storm or a tsunami, whatever it is, spam is the first thing to leave all the shelves. It's the only place in the world that I know of that like spam is a food group. It's not a joke. It's weird.
It's
It's
like
very weird.
Americans and bacon. Like us Americans, like we cherish our bacon. You know,
Hmm.
it's a delicacy.
Spam musubi is so popular. My kids love spam musubi. It is just a huge thing. So yeah. All right. Well, let's first of all, I guess since we're in sort of our Thanksgiving mode, let's talk a little bit about our favorite Thanksgiving well, okay. First let's talk about our favorite Thanksgiving TV shows. But then wider, we can discuss a little bit about some of the more favorite movie stuff that we do. Because I feel like a lot of stuff that we watch now is basically TV stuff. For Thanksgiving. I do know people that go to the movies on Thanksgiving. I always thought that was weird, but anyway. Okay, so start with you, Tori. Tori, what is your go-to show for Thanksgiving? Is it a Thanksgiving special? Is it some
Yes,
kind of movie? What is it?
Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Of course.
Of course. Like, I have loved this since I was little. With the jelly beans and the pretzels and the popcorn. Man, I was all over that. I loved it. I was my own cook whenever I was little, so I'd make up all these crazy recipes that little kids make up, and I really really I identified with that.
So, fun fact, Movies and Meals just updated with the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving menu, which includes
Yay!
popcorn, pretzels, make some very basic ideas. Chef hat optional, although that's definitely a thing. Somebody's mic is off. I wonder what is happening there. I keep hearing feedback. What about you, Josh? Do you guys have like a show that you watch, or do you have like a favorite sort of genre that you watch at Thanksgiving?
There's not really a whole lot of TV watching at all on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah, and the days around it, it's the usual watching. So nothing really big going on, because like I said, we go out
Right.
on Thanksgiving and torment the people that have to work, make them earn that holiday pay. You know how it is.
That's so kind of you. I do hope
It
you
is.
tip well.
It is absolutely. When just on a real note here, if you're like me and you go out on Thanksgiving, so you don't have to cook and so you don't have to be around, family, or at least the ones you don't live with. It is a good time to remember that the people working are just not going to be around the people they want to be around for the day. So take care of them with your tips, no matter where you are. If you're at a restaurant, tip well. If you're, buying a pack of gum, give the cashier a little something. Say Happy Thanksgiving. Just make sure you take care of the people that are taking care of you on a holiday.
Yeah, I completely agree. I absolutely do. All right, Kente, what about you?
Josh's tip is don't drink and drive.
That's a good tip, actually.
It is a good tip.
Yeah.
I should start telling people that.
Here's $5 for an Uber, just in case you want to have that shot of vodka later.
There you go. It's Twilight Zone, of course. Monsters on Maple Street. The Serve.
Oh, God, I love that.
Yeah, those classics. The one with the dude on the wing with God dang, what's his name? William Shatner.
The airplane.
Yeah.
Oh God, that one's
Gremlins.
freaky. Burgess Meredith. There's
Oh, yeah.
time now. There's time now. No, there's not time.
Love. I mean, those do not get old. They stay.
No, they don't.
I mean, Twilight Zone is amazing.
Yeah, quality definitely never gets
Well,
old.
Tori is the young person of the group. She may not have heard of Twilight Zone, but you should check it out.
Tori, you're on mute.
I did that in case of the mic thing. I didn't know if it was me or not, so I turned it off. Anyway, no, I am the youngest. I don't know. I'm 40. I don't know how old are you, Jen?
Tori's 40.
Yeah.
Yep, you're the baby.
I remember
Did
when
you
were
really
You're
think
the
you could ask
baby.
Jen about age?
No, you
Yes.
cannot. Also, you
She's
cannot.
immortal. I forgot.
Yes.
She's immortal. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no,
when
it's no,
Tori was
no,
30?
it's not that I'm immortal. It's that I'm too old to be telling you any of that stuff because it will totally wreck the illusion. So, no, not allowed.
Yeah,
Ye-
it is kind of funny when you're like, oh, I saw some contemporary musician in concert, and then an older person's like, I saw Beethoven in concert.
Okay. Wow. Good for you, buddy.
So
His
what are you,
older stuff was
Lestat?
better.
Like, what are you, Lestat? You've been around for like for ages or something?
Please don't
Okay,
get me, Louis. Okay, sorry.
okay, okay. So, excellent segue, Kente and
Thank you.
Tori. Thank you so much because I really did want. I've got a couple things to talk about tonight, and
Uh-huh.
some of them are longer than others, but because it is now the end of Interview with the Vampire, or we ended the season,
Great
uh,
Orange.
a bunch of people will now, because it's all out, watch it, right? Because a lot of people, even people that I know who love TV series, they just won't watch things week by week. They have to have it all together at one time.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's weird. That
The
I don't know.
I find that weird too. I'm like, how do you stay relevant? How do you have conversations with people about what just happened? Okay, so Interview with the Vampire happened, and I will not I won't go into too many spoilers because I do recognize that this is still pretty new, but I will say that this show ended on a really strong and powerful note, and I feel like there is enough speculation about what is really happening that it genuinely fuels interest in in Anne Rice's vampires again. Because
You know, I'm.
Interview with the I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were. Go ahead.
Well, Interview with the Vampire is just one small part of the Anne Rice world of the vampires, right? There's the Vampire Lestat, there's Queen of the Damned, there's Interview with the Vampire, but then there's also these other sort of ancillary materials around Anne Rice's vampires, which touch on things. There is even kind of a crossover now with the Mayfair Witches, which is going to be airing in
Yes.
December, I think. And
Yay.
that's going to be great because that's one of those, unexplored worlds of Anne Rice that I feel like there's so much going on here. It could absolutely be amazing. So that's real interesting. But in terms of what just happened with Interview with the Vampire, um, we got a really full story. And Louis, I think, is redeemed as a character with a proper character arc, which I always felt like in the movie Interview with the Vampire, he just didn't have. It was, I think, Lestat at the end of Interview with the Vampire was like, kind of, yeah, that's what it felt like he was doing. Louis,
Okay.
Louis, whining,
So
whining, whining.
so
This was not that.
yeah, so I think honestly, like Brad Pitt is, and this is going to be controversial. This is just my opinion, guys. At some movies, he sucks at acting. Like he's vapid. He has no expression. Like he is all dolled up. He looks like a pageant person in an Interview with a vampire. Like
Tell us what you really think, Tori.
this is the rant. You told people there was going to be rants, so here's one of them. And in this movie, I just wanted to say this is. I said all that to say this. This movie, he does not act very well
In the movie.
Oh,
in the movie.
in the
Yeah,
movie, right? Yeah, in the
yeah,
movie. But in the series that just happened, first of all, Louis is a completely different character.
And
yeah.
I
And
call you out, Jen.
what?
You didn't tell me Louis played by Grey Worm.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
And
I just found that out like a couple of days ago.
And he's so good. Like the
And
character.
did you know he's a
What?
rapper?
Yes, I did. I've actually heard his songs before.
Oh, okay.
Um, his his portrayal of Louis, both in the past and then in what we know to be the future. Well, not the future, but the present day, because he's giving the interview again. It doesn't just fill in the gaps that Interview with the Vampire the movie sort of left us with, but honestly, it paints the fullest Lestat picture I've ever seen anyone paint.
Mhm.
As someone who loves the Anne Rice books, um, I've always felt like Lestat was just sort of like every movie that they make, he's just so. Why is he so two-dimensional? And
Yeah.
in this movie, I mean, in this show, you can feel his. Listen, this vampire is not just narcissistic. He he's manipulative in a way that long life, I think, demands that you start ending up being. And it's one of those cautionary tales of immortality. This is the price. And it's beautifully done. I mean, the character study is intense and intriguing and hard to watch sometimes, but it's great, really great. And I love who they pulled out for Claudia. Claudia, the actress that plays her, has this full range of, instead
Dun-
of Claudia being a spoiled child, she is more like well, she's a teenager, but just that small change gives her the
Is,
ability to be
Dunst,
something so much better. Go ahead.
is that the Kirsten Dunst character from the movie?
It is
Yes.
the Kirsten Dunst character from the movie, but they age her up for Interview with the Vampire, and they really make her intelligent. She, at some point, she becomes the master of manipulating Lestat. And, that is enormous. That's cataclysmic in this world. And it's exactly what I would the extrapolation of how they get there is just perfect. It's really
Hey,
good.
can I
So,
ask you a question? One thing, anyone who knows me, I hates this, but in the movie as well as the book, they were sucking on rats to get blood. Are they doing that on?
yeah. Well, so you don't, I mean, you see that like once or twice because Louis actually does that because he gives up drinking human blood, but it's not like you're not seeing it very often. It's like one or two scenes.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I'm out.
I wanted to give a big shout out to Anne Rice too, because she passed away, and I think that this portrayal of her world would really make her proud. I think that she would
I do
really
too.
enjoy it. And that makes me happy.
Yeah,
That makes me happy if she would like it.
I completely agree.
Do you even think
And
Neil Jordan did a good job with the original movie?
I think it was. I think the movie was by design. The movie it had to compress and consolidate so much source material that it didn't just feel rushed. It felt lacking, and I think that this experience, by having shows that can kind of delve into the real character arcs, is such an expansive world that it helps us to understand the entirety of what's happening here, instead of being let's hurry up and get through stuff. I feel like that's a big deal. It is a big deal. It's definitely a big deal.
Mm.
So um okay, so anyone who hasn't seen Interview with the Vampire, I mean, the first couple of episodes they're interesting, but you don't get into the quote unquote meat of the story until about episode 3, so hang in there.
Oh, you want to hear a
Um
fun fact? Is the interviewer that was played by Christian Slater was supposed to be played by River Phoenix, but his untimely death
right.
was before he could film it. So
It's hard to believe that movie is as old as it is, but
all right.
it is It's quite old now. So,
Yeah.
okay. We lost Josh, but let's well,
Rest in-
actually, okay, before we get into that one, we'll talk about the end of The Walking Dead. One of the
Mm.
things that was interesting was, of course, The Walking Dead was airing right before Interview with the Vampire. So a lot of the people who watched The Walking Dead stuck around for Interview with the Vampire, and I feel like the show kind of picked up a little bit of steam because of that. And then Talking Dead with what's his name, Hardwick.
Oh,
Chris Hardwick. Chris
Oh,
Chris,
Hardwick.
yes,
on the Talking
was
Dead. On the Talking Dead, they had Rick Beato, right? On there.
yeah.
Yeah, they had him on there
I
before.
love Rick Beato. Rick Beato has a great YouTube channel where he breaks down music. I'm sorry, I know this we're talking about that, but I saw that he was on there, so I want to watch just the Talking Dead because that guy is awesome. Check out Rick Beato, by the way.
And the because they kind of sandwiched everything all together, right? You get kind of a whole experience. You get a whole night of entertainment. You get The Walking Dead, you get Interview with the Vampire, and then you get Talking Dead. And it was it was an interesting couple weeks there. But the end of The Walking Dead is upon us, and wow, talk about the end of an era.
Finally.
It's just wow. To everyone who has been there since the beginning, first of all, God bless you all. That was an amazing journey, and whew, um, the end of The Walking Dead is definitely the end of an era. I mean, that's 100%. But
Yeah. The
it,
the zombie apocalypse is over now, you know?
yeah, and I feel like I'm really glad that they went out on a high note instead of letting it sort of falter and die, because I feel like they were in charge of the material, which is great. I'm very proud of them for doing that. I mean, I have mixed feelings about this season. It wasn't one thing I'll say for the end of this season was it wasn't just more of the same. It did really feel like the stakes were extremely high, and that was good. I did kind of like that. I also like the fact that they leave tons of room for as many spin-offs as they could possibly want. If they want to bring certain things back, they left those doors open. I do feel like there's plenty of creative wiggle room for them. But it is sad to see The Walking Dead go the way of the dinosaur. How do you feel about it, Tori? I know you've been into this for a long time.
Oh man, yeah. I will recap my story. I didn't start watching it until mid season 4. And I binge watched it. I watched it in like 2 days. And I was obsessed with it. So I joined these Walking Dead groups. I didn't know what Walking Dead groups were. And all of a sudden, I'm getting all these notifications, and we're all talking about The Walking Dead, and it's awesome, right? So I joined a bunch of groups, and I kept getting kicked out of these groups for stupid reasons. So I just decided to make my own group. I said, "Fuck you guys," and I just, you know, started my own group, and I had like, 5,000 members or something. That's how I met Kid Day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah,
And
he
love at
recruited
first
me.
bite. It was love at first bite.
Yes. Yes, it was.
So it was kind of an infectious relationship.
Yes.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm sad to see the show go in one way, but I'm not sad in another way. And also AMC's got a giant hole in their programming now, which I don't know
No,
what they're going to do to.
oh no, Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was still, despite the fact that it had been going for so long, it was still one of the highest rated shows on TV in terms of viewership.
Yeah.
Nothing touches The Walking Dead in terms of, even when viewership was going down, it was still so hot. Nothing could even come close. So it was still really good.
What's funny is like if honestly, like you take away the dead people, the zombies, right?
Then it's just The Walking
walkers.
Live.
Yes.
Right.
And then, but
That's a different
then,
show.
yeah, I always thought that maybe that could be a spinoff. What do they do when
Well,
the walkers are gone?
Well, we know that there's Maggie and Negan out there somewhere, and they do
Yeah.
get their own spin-off. So we'll see what happens with that. And then we saw we've seen quite a bit. The other thing that The Walking Dead has tried to do is like Tales of the Walking Dead, which I've had sort of mixed reviews about. Some of it's been okay, some of it was like really kind of junky. And then of course we've had a bunch of things. I mean, I don't think The Walking Dead is necessarily just going to run away.
It should.
But yeah, I think the days of I think the days of anything less than just the spin-off material in short form is probably over. So that
You
might
know
be
what's
good.
good though? One thing I'll say that was great about the show is it gave us some new stars. Like John Bernthal has gone on
Yes.
to have a
Yes.
great career, and he's a fantastic actor. Um, Also, Stephen Yeun is having a great career.
Yep.
He's doing excellent work.
Even Andrew Lincoln.
What has he done since?
No, I'm not saying that he's done anything since. I'm saying that was like a huge cap in his career. Also,
No,
people.
but I was referring to like people who've gone on,
Oh,
after
I see. Gotcha.
because also the guy Merle he's
Oh
he's
yeah.
Michael Roker.
I mean he was already an established actor, but after that he's been in a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
just really they've done a great. And then Sasha, she
Yeah, she's in the Star Trek and she's so good. Oh my god, like she is serious and it's great.
yeah.
She's a great actress.
So I mean, just that alone, unfortunately, some other people haven't really done things since then, but those guys have definitely done great stuff. And I'll say the true star of the show has to be the special effects supervisor. Oh my god,
Nick Rotero.
yeah, thank you, Nick Cotero.
Yep.
That dude is, man. They should. I hope he got super rich off that show because he deserves it.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely
Yeah.
deserves it.
Arrow, that show, come on now. Like, and he became a great director too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he was a frequent guest on The Talking Dead.
Right, he's awesome too. Awesome dude. And he's from,
Well,
I think, from your neck of the woods, Pittsburgh, right?
Oh yeah, he is. Yep.
That's where he's from, Pittsburgh.
That's where I am from. I was born and raised.
Yeah. Little known fact: Tori is actually from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I live in Virginia Beach now, but I'm a damn Yankee. I never left.
Yeah.
So am I. My Thanksgiving traditions betray me for being a Northeasterner. That's for sure.
Little known fact. Jen is from Hobbiton.
Yeah, I actually am a hobbit. That is super true. I have everything except the hairy feet. So
yeah.
I have a hairy
I'll
toe.
work on
I'm
that.
not gonna lie. I have one toe that's hairy, and I have to shave it, and it's weird. I get like 2 hairs on it. I feel so weird about it.
So you'd fit right in. You'd fit right in.
My wonky toe. I always thought maybe I was a hobbit.
Josh, Hogwarts.
Oh, Josh, are you from Hogwarts? What house are you in?
Nobody's from Hogwarts.
Yeah,
Well,
true.
that's true. No, that's not true. That is absolutely not true. Filch's cat is definitely from Hogwarts. Filch's cat was born in Hogwarts. I don't believe anything.
Josh was born in Hogwarts.
Fine, I was born in Hogwarts, and for the record, I am House Slytherin.
And
Woo.
the basilisk has to have been born.
I thought you were House Shitty.
Not a Hogwarts house. No matter how many times I try to get my petition pushed through, it's rejected every year.
That's because your owl keeps getting into the vodka.
Is that not a good treat for an owl? It's
Well,
potatoes.
it is, but I guess, if you want him to fly true, probably not. Yeah. He's probably flying to Hobbiton and getting
I'd rather
confused.
have it live its
Gandalf
best
is
life.
like, what is all of this house stuff? This is crazy.
Can I ask a dirty question?
Yeah.
Who would win in a Wizard Off, Gandalf or Harry Potter?
Oh.
Gandalf. Gandalf is like demigod. I don't think you could. Yeah, that's not really.
And
I don't even
Harry
think that's a
Potter's
fair
not even
fight.
a very good wizard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he's
not really a fair
not.
fight.
I thought by the end he became like a all powerful wizard. I
No.
never.
No. Not at all. He's like a dork still,
He's competent. I would
Spoilers. His go-to move was play dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so he's a possum, basically.
Well,
Yep.
to be fair, his go-to move started out as be dead, and then he switched it to play dead.
I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
yeah.
What
He
you
also
know, the actor Daniel Radcliffe is good at playing dead.
Yeah.
Yes, Swiss
He's
Army
also
Man.
amazing at playing Weird Al, but that's a different story.
If you ever seen that movie he did with Paul Dano,
Swiss Army Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were just talking about that.
Mhm.
Well, okay. So we're gonna move from The Walking Dead to something a little bit more sci-fi. Okay. Now I know Tori hasn't seen. In fact, I don't know if any of you have seen this. Have any of you watched Andor?
I have watched Andor.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, I watched all of it. Yep.
Okay. Well, we still have one more episode.
I
There's still
know.
another episode. Okay. And Josh, you did or you didn't?
Well, you see, what had happened was I was going to watch it, and
The dog ate your TV.
I don't have a dog,
Oh, well.
but the
well,
cat
that,
did.
That would make it all the more.
I had a cat. Cat ate the TV,
There you go.
and I couldn't watch. And no. What happened was, I was like, "All right, kids, let's watch Andor," and they're like, "And or what?" And I guess, good question. I guess Golden Girls.
I mean, we're not gonna fault you for.
I
watching
started
Golden
watching Golden Girls whenever Mac's not around, so I get it.
We're
On
not gonna
season
fault-
7.
We're not faulting anybody for watching the Golden Girls. There's no
No,
Golden
I
Girls
know.
shaming.
No,
on this podcast.
absolutely. We love the Golden Girls.
no,
Yes.
oh, he was trying to. He had to go keep his kids.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes,
We were going to come get him. if
it's
he had-
me, Stan.
Okay. So I will I'll make this as quasi spoiler free as I can. But I will say that there's 3 things that I want to say about Andor. First, is over the Thanksgiving holiday, they are going to be showing Andor on regular network TV. Not
Oh.
all episodes, but I believe it's the first 2 or 3. I can't remember whether it's 2 or 3. But hopefully enough to get people interested in
Oh, that-
Disney Plus.
Do you want my chocolate? Come on.
Yes, exactly. Yes. People that maybe don't know about what the Andor story is, it really is how the rebellion begins. Not just that people are upset with the Empire or that there is some political strife happening, but truly how the rebellion kind of gains steam, and it's done so this way. And this is what makes Andor so uniquely epic to Star Wars, to the Star Wars universe of storytelling, I'll say. Andor tells an unbelievably long story through character arcs. And I know that might seem like, well, doesn't every story? And the answer is no, it really doesn't. You have character arcs that go along with a narrative, and the narrative is the thing. Here we have yes, there's the backdrop of the rebellion, but we already know that the rebellion is going to happen. There is no timeline for us to deal with there. This is who are the characters of the rebellion? Why were they willing to do what they did, taking on the empire? And how in God's name did they even come up with enough cash, enough expertise, enough people? Like, what happened there? It's an enormous complex when you think about it. One of my favorite parts of Andor so far has been to, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but has been to explain in an almost nauseating minutia the effects of bureaucracy on the empire itself, how stuff gets lost in this like endless vacuum of bureaucracy, how cogs in the wheels conversely can create this amazing amount of backlash and ripple, and how when things don't all work together, everything fails. That this is the empire part. And then there's the rebellion part where you have people who are 100% willing to give up everything they have, including suicide missions, including basically giving up any hope of a normal sane life that they would have had by doing anything else. They are willing to commit. People in high places, people in low places, people that have certain areas of expertise, people that don't even know yet what it is to experience freedom. They are absolutely committed to this. And it's done, like I said, in this character arc way where individual characters become studies in and of themselves. Now, from a Star Wars universe standpoint, this is really unique and really special. I mean, I am trying to impart how incredibly different I feel like this is from anything else that we've seen in Star Wars so far, and why it is so unbelievably beautifully done. Um, and I think in some ways, giving up the battle action, the the sort of like, okay, Star Wars is a lot of space explosions, that Star Wars is a space themed western, and really drilling down into who are the people who are behind this, we get something that is a treat. It's just gorgeous. It's We still have another episode. In fact, there's going to be an episode pretty soon here, and that episode will, I believe, be I think that's the finale. Um, they're setting up the war. They are setting up the beginning of the war, and it's so far it's been an absolute beautiful ride. So I want to hear from you, Tori, but I also want to hear from Josh and Kinte about whether or not you guys think that you might watch this and what you think your expectations might be about it. So start with you, Kinte. Do you think you're gonna watch Andor, or are you just not that into the Star Wars universe?
No, I love the Star Wars universe, and I had planned on watching it when it first started. I actually started watching uh what's the damn movie? The movie
Rogue
that's
One. Rogue One.
Rogue One. Sorry,
Yep.
I watched like half of it to get ready for it, and then someone called or something, and then I got thrown off, and then I've never
Didn't go back to it. Yeah.
to get back to it. So, but I definitely want to watch it because I love the actor that is the star of it. I think he's fantastic.
Diego. Yeah, he's fabulous.
Yes, he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, he's awesome, and I really want to see what he is, him doing it. So no, I plan on watching it. I guess I hear great things about it. I hear I didn't care for the Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan show,
Right, the
Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan series. Okay.
but I watched every episode. I mean, I love Ewan McGregor, and I really was hoping for something great, but I didn't love it. But I watched every episode because Ewan McGregor is just that awesome. And then
Yeah.
also, I tried to get into Boba Fett, just couldn't get into it.
I loved Boba Fett.
Even though they brought that character from the cartoon at the end, the bounty hunter dude. Uh, oh, he's such an awesome character. Cade,
Mm.
he's like blue.
Yeah.
I saw that they brought him in there. I was like, oh man, maybe I'll, that made me kind of want to watch it, But
Yeah.
anyway, so uh, I'll give it a shot. I guess when sometime when I'm not doing anything, I might just binge watch it and catch up. Maybe who knows? Maybe I'll catch up for the finale.
Well, you probably wouldn't be able to because it's there's quite a few episodes. It's a little
I'm
bit
in.
different than some. I think there's like 11 out now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Cad Bane is the one you're thinking of.
Mhm.
It took me a
Yeah,
second
that
for
guy,
yeah.
awesome. I was
I
so
I,
yeah, he looked pretty cool on the.
I could feel the dust swirling around in my head when I was trying to come up with that because it hasn't been accessed in so long. Um, the one thing that I will caution people about Andor on, and then I'm going to ask Josh whether he wants to get into this or not too, is that Andor is not your typical Star Wars tale. Up until this last episode, I mean, I saw so few space scenes, like scenes actually in space, like with star cruisers or with uh e- it is not that show. It's not the show about the flashy stuff in Star Wars. It is absolutely the down and dirty aspect of what the rebellion is, how it was formed, and what it is in response to, because we know that the empire is building something big. I mean, the prison
What
scenes go
what is it? What is it that they're building that's big?
I, according yeah, I mean, obviously I think we all know that, but
Oh, Star-
it's
is
always been a big open question for a lot of people in Star Wars, a lot of fans, as to how did the empire build such a fleet of ships? How did they get so much material to build the Death Star? How in the world did all of this come together? And Andor
how
begins
they
to
hire
answer those
all-
questions.
how do they hire everybody? I think they use Zip.
Yeah, and you know what? They did
They use
not
Zip.
hire them. Spoiler alert, they did not hire them.
No, they got them from Zip Recruiter.
Yeah, yeah,
Indeed.
yeah, they
They
zip
got-
around in space. That's exactly right. They zip around in space and they collect people and corral them, arrest them, and throw them into prison camps.
It
It
sounds
it
like
it, it
indeed,
is
yeah.
such a
Alleged, alleged.
it's yeah, alleged, right? It is such a it's such a cool peek into the gears, I think is what I'm thinking. It's like the gear work of the Star Wars universe. That it's just very cool. What about you, Josh? Do you think you're going to get into it, or is it just not? Because I have heard people say that they think that Andor is a little too um drab. Like, where's all the other alien species? And there's only like passing references to them, and there are some, but it's few and far between. And some people are not super impressed with the slowness of the storytelling, the pacing of it, I guess. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm going to watch it. It's Star Wars. I always watch Star Wars, even if it seems like, okay, I may not be totally into it, but it's another piece of the puzzle. And if you look at my bookshelf, you'll see I'm all about cool extended stories. And Star Wars has become that in spades when it comes to movies and television. Um, I don't know why I haven't started watching it yet. And I used to say it's because I'm one of those people that likes to, pull up some episodes, have them kind of in my back pocket when I have time, I'll start watching a few of them. But here we are closing in on the season finale, and I have yet to start.
Mm.
I don't think that it's because of a lack of interest, because it does sound interesting. But I don't know. It just hasn't been on the top of my priority list, but it will definitely be watched. That is one thing I can say for sure.
Well, Josh, you don't have your priorities in order.
Right?
I don't need.
I
I,
I felt like I needed to keep my kids, so I started the Golden Girls.
I mean,
That,
he's got a valid point, Kente.
that is
There's
that is
no doubt
true.
about it. Well, okay. Tori, what are you thinking about Andor? What have you thought up to this point about it? Are you liking it? Do you, what are your loves and dislikes about it?
Okay, so this is where I'm coming from. I don't always, I don't always like, I wasn't up to date with my Star Wars when I met Mac. Okay. I was like 3 movies behind. I just didn't see anything after The Phantom Menace, right? And none of the new movies. So he introduced me to all that stuff. And then just by happenstance, all these series come out, right? And The Mandalorian was great, and Boba Fett was great, and I'm like, wow, there's all these characters and lightsaber battles, and the the dark side is the dark side, and then and then like this is a very slow story, so I had to like pump my brakes. Now I'm not opposed to slow stories. Like, come on, I read A Tale of Two Cities. Like,
Boy,
like
that's slow.
yeah. So I understand the stagnant of it, but that's the importance of it. They want you to know what they're doing. They're being very deliberate so you can see exactly how it came to be. Right? They're not hiding anything.
Right. And it's again, Andor is told as a whether it's intentional or not. Andor is told as a character story,
Mhm.
not as a narrative story. That is, it is difficult from episode to episode to do anything than pay attention to what is happening to the
That's
characters
that's why
episodically.
that's why it's so slow. You know
Right.
what I
I
mean?
feel that. I do.
Yeah.
I actually feel that. I mean, I happen to like it because it is different from anything that we've experienced before. And it also lends to that sort of like slow grinding that I feel like you're supposed to feel about how this thing was built.
Mhm.
But I also totally understand that is a criticism by people that are looking for something a little bit faster paced. And also, let's not forget that, the average series right now in a season has 8 episodes. 8. That's it. And Andor is already at 11. It definitely is telling a bigger story, and it feels that way. It does not feel like a short, hey, here's our point A and here's our point B, and here's how we're just going to get there real quick. There's a lot of stuff that's happening in between. So I think it's a valid criticism. I, for one, actually don't mind it, but I see why people do like it.
Is
I mean,
is
don't like it.
is Mads Mikkelsen in it?
No. Stellan Skarsgård is.
Oh, okay. And
Uh,
Felicity, what her name is not in it either, right?
no, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, she was a star of Rogue One.
Yeah, no, no. The people that were in Rogue One are not necessarily in
Right.
Andor.
They hadn't met yet, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, this is definitely the pre-rebellion formation. Um, so
Diego is so good. Oh
he,
my god.
yeah,
Like,
he really is. And you know who else is really good in this? Despite the fact that we don't get like a lot of on-time screen with him, is Stellan Skarsgård. Stellan Skarsgård I mean, he is just absolutely killing it every single time that he is on screen. You feel like like this man's world is consumed by exactly what he says in the very beginning. He is the master. He is the equivalent to uh sort of Jedi with not with his mind tricks and not with his fighting ability, but with his ability to manipulate the environment and also to take the kind of risks that, frankly, they're hard. Like, I don't I mean, he even says in some places, look, we have to sacrifice some in order to get the outcome that we're looking for. And I can't even imagine being in that position. It's got to be really hard. So, okay. Uh I mean, if you haven't seen Andor, you should definitely watch it. And if you can, take a look because it'll be free on regular network TV Freeform and um I want to say it's ABC too. Over the Thanksgiving break, it will be airing. So look for that. Um I know none of you actually watch Chucky, and that's okay. But I do want to give a serious shout out to this series. It's going to, I think its last episode is coming up this week. Um it is so silly good. Silly good meaning like, I mean, it borders comedy horror in just how ridiculous it is, but it is so well written. You can just feel that everybody involved in this project is not just having fun, but into it. It's such an interesting, it's the difference between an adaptation, which I'm going to get into in a second, uh done by people who don't love and want the source material to expand, and people that just have a passion for the source material and are like, we need to do the F out of this. And that's exactly what happens with Chucky. I'm really loving it. It's just so fun. Even if you don't like the movies, I guarantee if you give this a chance, it really is a good series to watch. Um, I'm pretty sure none of you seen it, right? Have any of you actually
Right.
seen it?
No, I
Yeah,
haven't seen.
I didn't think so. I think Tori and I talked about this before, and I know Josh and I have. Um, okay, so okay, so let's talk about The Witcher. First of
We
all,
just happened that Mac didn't know that you
oh
were bringing this up, right? And so
no.
he started watching it all on his own. And I was like, did you like read my messages or something? Because it was literally like the day after you were like, oh,
Uh,
we're going to talk about this and we're going to include The Witcher. And I was like, I should really rewatch that. And then I walk into the room and he's witchering it up. And I was like, oh, man.
oh my god, that's funny.
That is funny. Like,
Um, okay. w- there's going to be The Witcher Blood Origins, which is uh 1200 years before the events of The Witcher, right? And they're going to sort of help us to understand a little bit about what it was like, and this is all lore stuff, before the conjunction of the spheres. And they're going to, I think, sort of clue us in a little bit about how the first Witchers were, even what the inception of the first Witchers were, like why, and how did they start experimenting with these things. Because a lot of it is like genetic mutations and stuff that's like actually, kind of scary. So I'm sure that is, as a standalone project, it'll be interesting to see. Um, but let's talk a little bit about the current controversy. The
Okay.
current controversy of The Witcher is that Henry Cavill stepped down as The Witcher. And he did so after filming 3 seasons. And it is um it's interesting because the stuff that has come out since then, and probably prior to this, that we just didn't realize was, this is kind of happening behind the scenes, um is it's fascinating to me because the whole purpose of having Henry Cavill be Geralt, the Witcher, was he had extensive knowledge of the Witcher world. He he's a lore buff. He loves the Witcher world. He loves playing the games. He loves the books. he's a geek. I mean, he really, really loved it. And it seems now I'm not behind the scenes, so of course, this is rumor central, but lots of information has come out since then that seem to indicate that one, the writing staff behind The Witcher were really not into the source material. They didn't like it. They mocked it a bunch of times. They are writing a different story. It's like they're writing a Witcher story that is more fan fiction than Witcher lore. And I get it. I mean, there's a place for that, and I think that that could exist by itself. But they are also trying to do fan service, and they are also trying to tell a narrative story from the books. So how does that all work? It doesn't. It doesn't. And I mean, this is the problem that I had in season 2. I didn't like season 2 at all because they were veering into storylines that didn't make any sense to me. They were adding characters that didn't belong. They were really changing the tone, I think, of what I understand as the Witcher world. And, you know, I'm just one fan. It's not like, my opinion is everything. But then you start seeing it pile up over and over and over again. And a lot of people had very high hopes for season 3. Okay. So there was also talk, apparently, that at the end of season 2, before he filmed season 3, Henry Cavill said, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to do anymore. And they convinced him to stay by offering him $1 million per episode, which is, that's no small chunk of change. That's a lot. And he agreed. And it sounds like the caveat was, okay, but, can you listen to what I'm saying? Can you make Geralt more than, the famous quote is, more than the grumpy snowman? Because that's basically what Geralt's character has been boiled down to, This is a bigger function and facet for me in terms of TV series that are happening right now. There are some writers and writing teams that seem to get it. Interview with the Vampire is one. Andor is new material, so I won't say that like that's, there isn't as much adaptation. But there have Sandman on Netflix is another that have really tried very hard to stay true to the source material. And then there are episodic franchises that are just all over the map. And I feel like that's what has happened to Witcher, that the entire franchise is now hinging on somebody else's vision of a story that basically feels like fan fiction. So I want to ask you, Tori, have you seen season 1, season 2 of The Witcher?
Yes.
And so what do you think about Henry Cavill leaving, first of all?
I'm so sad. It's not going to be the same. You can't really come back from that. Especially
Yeah.
since it's all over the place anyway. There's a storyline, but it's it's kind of blurred, and there's weird characters, like you said, and so like you get all this chaos, and people are gonna be like, huh? I'm not okay. I'm not downing anybody in this panel, so do company excluded, but as a whole, America is not very smart, right? So like they can't process complicated shows very well. It's true. Like you don't see the Sandman on ABC for a reason.
Right.
So like I think a lot of the writing has been fan fiction, has been, oh my God, this is my dream job. What am I going to do? And not, oh my God, this is my dream job. What can I do to make this better?
Yeah, and the interesting I think, and again, this is just my own opinion, but my personal take is, why go through such great lengths to say that the book and the game are going to be such that the fans are just going to love it because the game and the book have such rich source material, and it's going to, and then do as much as you possibly can to bastardize and change all of it so that it fits a totally different narrative. Like, I don't understand what it was that they were expecting was going to happen. If you it's not like I'm saying that that you can that you can't have an original adaptation of something, because I'll go to what happened earlier this year with Halo, and I'll say
Mhm.
that, hey, you know what? There were plenty of people who were mad as heck at Master Chief having the no helmet thing. It was like, that is a cardinal sin, because the games go out of their way to make sure that that that's just, you don't do that. It's like the Mandalorian, you don't take off your
Right.
helmet.
Right.
But they were very clear in the beginning that this telling of Halo is an original Halo story, that it's
Mhm.
not the story of the games. And they tried to go very far out of their way to say, whatever you think about the Halo games, put that on pause and just come along for this story ride with us. That's different than getting a group of people who are committed to playing games and reading books, excited about source material that then never materializes. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
Mhm. There's been so many adaptations that has been disappointing. But go ahead, Kinte.
no, no. I mean, I definitely feel you. I mean, I think that one thing that we're so fortunate with is that we're in this era of what they call it prestige television,
Yeah.
Yes. We did
and
a podcast on that, actually.
right. So yeah, I mean, what else can you ask for, right?
Well, the whole problem now with prestige TV is that the expectations are extremely high, and the writing, I think, it becomes a kind of vainglory, right? Like, it's sort of, it's like, oh, look here, I have this project, and then you don't pay any attention to the things that would make the project successful in the first place. And I mean, I'm going to go back to Neil Gaiman, because I feel like he is actually the masterclass in how this works. Despite the fact that the networks didn't do a great job of handling American Gods, with Neil Gaiman's input, was stellar. I mean, even when it wasn't good, as good as it was in the beginning, it was still really good. And Sandman, same thing with Neil Gaiman, was amazing for that same reason. Good Omens, absolutely astounding, because the source material honors what the fans really want, instead of trying to find your own voice in storytelling, which is all these crazy adaptations. I I'm struggling a little bit with, like, okay, I mean, this is part rant on The Witcher, but it's not just The Witcher that I see this happening with. It's this trend in TV series storytelling, which adapts these, like, really cool ideas and then just lets them fall down. Um that is insane to me, and I don't really understand it. So I'm with, kind of bated breath. Like, I have hope for, but I don't know how this is going to work. Um, Upcoming, we have Willow.
Ah, yay.
So November 30th, Willow premieres on Disney Plus. And this is another one, this begins with a movie, so it might be a little bit easier, but there I just read a great article about how they went through great pains to really honor the original movie, because that's where they feel like the strength and good the goodness is. That's where it is. So that's encouraging. And I'm going to bring up a series that I've been watching since the beginning. It's in its last and final season. I'm so excited about it. It's called His Dark Materials. This is the Philip Pullman episodic story about dust, basically. It's about each person has their own demon. There's Lyra, there's the giant polar bear king. There's all of these different facets, but it's an amazing and very in-depth story. Um, it's fantastical in its sweep. They have done unbelievably good things in this series. They have not just uh honored the material, but where it could be expanded in a way that made sense, they did. And I loved that. I just feel like that's an adaptation that actually worked. And the movies didn't really work. They didn't do it justice, I don't think. On In January, we have, well, actually, I'll go to December again. We also have the adaptation of something called Kindred, which is a time travel story,
Mm.
where a lady who is in our present day actually time travels back to the 1800s. And it's it's going to be a really interesting one. Have a lot of high hopes for that one. It deals with a lot of race issues. It deals with a lot of class issues. Um, I think that one's going to be good. That's Kindred is on Hulu December 13th. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about is The Last of Us. This is another
Mm.
adaptation which I'm nervous about, but I mean, so far it seems like it's starting off good. But for the same reason that I was and still am nervous about The Witcher, The Last of Us feels like it could go one of two ways. Either it could be really good and they could really concentrate on Ellie, or it could go in the other direction and they could do so much world building that it sort of collapses the story. I hope they don't do that.
Yeah, it could go really good or really bad.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
I feel.
I am hoping that that isn't what happens. Okay. I also definitely want to give one quick mention to a Christmas program that I hated. I watched it last night. It's a series. I don't think I'm going to be sticking around for the rest of it. It was awful. It's on Disney Plus. It's called The Santa Clauses. It stars our good old friend Tim Allen,
Oh no.
and oh my god. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I didn't like about it. Rant incoming. First of all, I'm really glad that somebody actually did an article on this today, because I felt like I was kind of like, maybe I'm just being too sensitive, but it turns out no, I'm not. Um, One of the lines in the very first episode is Santa Claus saying, "I can't even say Merry Christmas anymore." You know, because nobody wants to hear Merry Christmas. Everybody wants to hear Happy Holidays, which is the ridiculous, idiotic, stupid right wing talking point of the war on Christmas. There is no war on Christmas, everyone. We all love Christmas. Stop it. But then it goes further, where they have the elves in a room talking about the naughty and nice list. And they start making references to kids that are naughty are not really naughty because they just have ADHD. But it doesn't really come across like that. It comes across like, oh, well, I guess everybody can be a self entitled little brat because they can just say that they have ADHD. Or, they throw a temper tantrum and it's not really a big deal. It marginalized so many groups of kids in less than 5 minutes. And it made me think that a group of grown adults, probably men, were sitting around a table thinking, haha, this is funny, without thinking about why this isn't funny anymore. It's not funny. And
Whiteness.
it definitely isn't funny when it comes to Santa. It's just, okay, look, you know what? If Santa is losing his Christmas magic, which is totally a fine story point, the idea that he's losing his magic because kids have ADHD and temper
Yeah.
tantrums,
Yeah.
or that there is a general war on Christmas, is, to me, it just sounds like right-wing propaganda. And I'm so sad that Disney let that through, because it just sucks. It turns a story that I love. I love the stories that are the Santa Claus. I've seen them all, even the stupid one with Jack Frost, which is really dumb, but it's still so fun. And for them to turn that beloved franchise into this makes me so viscerally upset. I was so mad last night. I wouldn't even finish the second episode because I just felt like, no, I'm not going to tune in to this kind of rhetoric. It just felt weird. So, I just had to mention that. I don't know if you guys have kids that actually watch that stuff. Josh, you might. Have you watched any of it at all?
No, and it sounds like I'm not going to.
It's not it I don't think it, first of all, I didn't think it was funny, but secondly, that's not Santa. Santa is like the spirit of love. Santa is look, uh the things that we do in this world matter. The stuff that we do out of love matters. It's not about calling out individual behaviors, or even giving kids this idea that somehow they are lesser because they can't pay attention in class or whatever. Like, that just feels so unnecessarily marginalizing. It just didn't feel good. But anyway, uh I have to call that out because it was just so disappointing. I was so excited to have a new Christmas thing to watch, and looks like I'm going to have to be reliant on Hallmark Christmas movies to get my Christmas cheer.
No.
Well,
Please don't say so.
blame Josh for the right wing talking points.
Oh, really? Is that your fault? No, I don't think so.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't have been so bad, except that the article goes on to say that somebody actually called one of the writers out and said, "Hey, did you guys think about saying this before you actually said it? Because this is a tired, dead trope." And he said, "Yeah, we talked about it a little, went back and forth, and in fact, they had a scene that they cut or didn't put in that has them in the sleigh and somebody shooting at them over LA." And the comment was, "Yeah, that's the actual war on Christmas." And he's like, "I felt like that was too far." And I was like, "Yeah, it's all too far." this isn't this isn't what 7, 8, and 9-year-olds are tuning in to see about Santa. No, you are creating this weird adult narrative around Santa that does not belong. Stop it. Leave it magic. It's supposed to be magic. Oy. Okay. Well, that was my rant on Santa. There are some good Christmas series coming up though, or at least movies. There's a new Christmas movie which is
Violent Night.
a little
Violent Night.
Violent Night sounds amazing. Oh my god. Did you see this? Did you see the trailer to that?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow. That
He reminded
absolutely
me of he reminded me of Josh if Josh was Santa Claus.
it looks unbelievably good. But then there's also a new Will Ferrell Christmas
Mm,
movie where there is
yay.
singing and dancing and all kinds of fun shenanigans. It's a we'll just call it a loose adaptation of A Christmas Carol. And then there is a Netflix animated Christmas Carol, because of course they have to do one. And it also looks good. The production values look amazing, and the music is unbelievably astounding. I mean, it's really good music.
So if you're gonna ask me, if you've ever asked me like what your favorite Christmas movie or Christmas show was, I will say hands down my favorite Christmas movie is A Muppet Christmas Carol.
You know what? We just watched that. We just watched that.
It's such a great movie.
It
never,
absolutely is.
never gets old. It never gets old. It's still cute. Rizzo the Rat is still awesome. Yeah.
Well,
It
it's between Die Hard and The Grinch.
Uh,
The original.
Yes. Yes, you have to. Every year we have to watch The
Oh,
Grinch. We have to watch Frosty. We have to watch Rudolph.
the cartoon.
Um, yeah, right. There are just certain shows that I actually still have on my DVR from like 5 years ago,
Oh,
which
but the claymation.
Ras
r-
Bankin. Yes.
Yes, yes, that was
Didn't he
creepy
just
but
die?
cool.
Didn't the guy just die? Right?
Recently, yes, in the past couple
Yeah.
of weeks he did. Yeah. The last of him because the duo, the other person in the duo, uh Mr. Bankin, I think, had died a while ago. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that I mean that's an empire. Oh, an empire isn't the right word. That is such an era come to a close because
Yeah,
Ras Bankin. In fact, for our next week 10 to 1, I have a bunch of animated movies that are on that list from that production studio, and they were not just iconic; they were movers and shakers in animation technology. So really big. In terms of giving us sort of like stories that have endured the test of time, 40 and 50 years old, some of these stories are. So that's kind of amazing. Especially since, for some of us, we watch them every single year without fail. Like it's crazy. They have aged not crazy good, but they have aged well enough that they are still so endearing. So there's that. A Violent Night does sound pretty epic. The the
I never
special
heard of
eff-
that one.
the
Oh my
special
God!
effects in it alone are
David
just like,
Harbour is Santa
whoa.
Claus,
Yeah, David
and he's
Harbour.
and he's like killing people.
Oh no, is it like a
It's no,
Krampus
it's
No,
no,
no, it's an
pattern?
action
no.
movie. It's an
Oh, okay,
You know what? Watch the full trailer. Watch
okay,
the full trailer to
okay.
get an idea of what's really happening here. It isn't like Santa goes on a rampage. It's not
Okay.
like that. I mean,
You didn't go postal. Okay.
Santa gets his licks, and there is some stuff happening, but it's not what you think it is. So really watch the trailer because it does look
oh, you'll
amazing.
love
Okay.
it.
I was really impressed by it. I thought it was going to be great. Let's see. What else do we have? Do we have anything else that's coming out? Oh, you know what? Later this month, the Wednesday series comes out. The Adams Family Wednesday series
Mm.
is coming out. I don't know if that's going to be good. I can't seem to find enough advanced material to make up my mind about whether that's going to be good or not. But basically, that's what we got. So, okay. So, this is the last podcast until after Thanksgiving. Obviously, I am not going to be around on Thanksgiving. I hope that none of you are either. I hope that you all have a wonderful time at dinner. Kinte, how can we find you on social media? And what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
My favorite Thanksgiving dish is macaroni and cheese.
Good
Um,
choice.
and you can get me at Kente F on Twitter, Kente Ferguson on Instagram, and you can also find me hiding in Tori's closet.
At least we can find you on Twitter at least through
Okay.
tonight.
Okay.
I'm a little bit worried about whether Twitter is actually going to be standing in the morning because another mass round of resignations just happened. So we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
Tori, how can we find you on social media?
Okay. So my show, it's been delayed and delayed and delayed. And it's basically because I don't have a co-host. So like I'm like trying to figure out how I can like do this because I have interviews lined up. So I need to do something. And then uh so you can find me on my Facebook page, Tori Rush, and you can tune into my podcast, and then you could also go to my YouTube channel, The Infectious Geek, and you can get me there, and we can get you every Thursday here, and every Monday Josh and I are now talking about Doctor Who because I've never seen it and he has, and he's stoked about it. So yeah, it's
Tori's
pretty cool.
becoming a Whovian.
I am becoming a Whovian slowly. I'm only on episode 2, so like let's not, you know.
We won't sign you up with the
Yeah.
Weeping
No,
Angels just
no,
yet.
I'm not bidding on eBay on any for anything yet.
We can't send you to the Daleks just yet, but soon, soon, soon.
Yeah.
Okay. And Josh, how can we find you on social media?
Well, first of all, I think it's funny that
Oh, wait. I'm so sorry, Josh. Tori, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Oh, rebaked potatoes, twice baked potatoes.
Oh, good. Oh, really good choice. Okay. Go ahead, Josh. I'm so sorry.
Well, I was going to say I think it's funny that you're mentioning these Doctor Who things, and it probably just sounds like gibberish to Tori.
Yeah, I don't
Right
know.
there, yeah.
I'm nodding my head, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Oh,
sure.
Dalek.
Ah.
Right.
I am writing them down in my head so I can go look them up later.
Come on. If you've been into a hot topic, you know what a Dalek is. All right.
No, I don't.
All right. So, what about you, Josh? How can we get you on social media? And what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Well, as always, you can find me on Twitter at SkidComics as long as it's standing. You can find all of the other pertinent socials at wadcomedia.com, including the Facebook pages, where shows like this stream, like Tori said. Tori finds the TARDIS every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. And on Wednesdays, hey, it's 10-2-1. It's a countdown show where Jen and I, you'd like Jen, I think.
Maybe a little. She has some weird ideas, but yeah.
I like Jen. And we come up with a pretty arbitrary list about films, but they're cool, they're fun, they're just reasons to make lists about movies. It's a great time had by y'all, and last night was a butt kicker.
Kind of was.
Pre 20th century war movies. That is wars that take place pre 20th centuries, and the movies about them. So, and next week, animated films made before 1980. So, like I said, we get a little specific about the lists we
You're
make.
getting a little niche here.
It's
But
good though. It's
It's
good. It
very
makes us
amazing.
think, and we come up with some really cool movies.
And it
Very.
sure is a lot better than just coming up with a list of, hey, let's come up with a list of the top 10 comedies.
Yeah, right.
Google.
Oh boy.
So there's that. And of course, TV Dinners, the show you're watching right now, every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, except for next week. But there's the Wadcast, episode number 100 and something or other, coming up Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. What's the topic? I don't know. It's not 5 minutes before showtime because that's usually when we figure out what we're going to talk about. I'm not saying we fly by the seat of our pants, but we would have frequent flyer miles for our pants if we did. And that's pretty much everything. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do it here too. Find me on Letterboxd at Skit Comic. Skit Comic. It's a household name. You can find all of the lists from 10-1, and if you think you might have me nailed down as far as my movie tastes go, I have a ton of lists all related to movies. It has every single movie I've ever watched, or at least that I can remember watching. And you can check out my ratings on those.
Jeez.
Whew.
That's intensive.
Letterboxd is a great app. I just wish they'd pay me to say that.
Endorsements. Come on.
Endorsements. Yeah, right.
You could just download it, create an account, and next thing you know, you're spending hours going, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it was 3 stars. Oh, I've seen that too. Just hours upon hours of remembering every movie you've ever watched and then giving it a rating.
Yeah.
And they have everything. You know what? This isn't a Letterboxd commercial, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah, that's how you find me. Wadcomedia.com. That's where all the links are. That's where all the merch is. That's where all the places to send money are if you feel so inclined. Wadcomedia.com.
Yay.
And you can find me at moviesandmeals.com. Like I said, we put up the Charlie Brown super quick Thanksgiving menu and some suggestions for some Thanksgiving movies to watch. We have the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. We have Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We have a story about the Mayflower people coming over from to Plymouth. We also have a spooky horror movie that is set around Thanksgiving. Just some basic stuff to get you through the day if you don't have anybody to hang out with. And I also want to say that right after Thanksgiving, we are going to start power posting stuff for Christmas. I have an actual editorial calendar of things to set up for Christmas this year, so should be fun. Last word before we go. I get these great across my email bulletins, and this one says, according to industry execs, Twitter is officially dead. Now, that's not real. It's obviously Twitter is not dead, but the hashtag RIP Twitter has been trending for quite some time. And the number of power users that are basically logging off of Twitter and not coming back is enormous at this point. Okay. So if anybody has a Twitter handle out there, don't forget to archive your account. Do the right thing. Don't, just let it disappear. And we'll reconstitute on whatever social media platform comes next. We'll see what happens. It's been real. Okay, so have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, and we will see you the week after next.